Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors. Wherever you are in the world, welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today, on episode 270, it is a welcome return. I thought Ralph Monroe, the third, not one, not two, but the third. He had last time he was on the show, it was episode 109. We were in the grips of a pandemic. We're kind of in the grips there, but let's just say when we had the pandemic, it seemed like simpler times. Now we're on the verge of possibly thermonuclear war, and yes, economic downturns, and God knows what. Ralph, how are you today, sir?
Man, yes, all of that. I am with all of that context that you just put together, that whole, not intro of a story. I'm doing good, And like
Like, let's put it this way. Last time we spoke, it was like, yes, Delta variant. Yeah, this. I was like, yeah. I was like looking at you like, Ralph, will it ever end? Will it ever end?
you know what? It was really interesting because through the I guess whatever phase of the pandemic it was, uh we didn't get COVID for, like during the peaks and all the other stuff times like that.
Mm.
But it was actually like 2, 3 months ago from this time that we're talking, I finally had got COVID. And like not during the peaks, not during all like the tail end. Like
Oh, yeah. Look, put it this way, right? Look, like Alpha came out, I like
yeah,
ducked it like that.
yeah.
Delta came out, I was like, shimmies. Omicron went, yeah, not today, son. Got me. Like, pow. I was like, like, yeah, like, stay down for 2 weeks. Stay down.
Yeah, no,
I,
right.
I want to get up and do stuff. Shut.
I
Like,
know, right?
oh, yeah. I know that vibe, man. I know that
It was a
vibe.
doozy. It was a doozy, man. I tell you, I didn't. It was because for me, I'm relatively healthy individual,
Yes.
and so it takes a lot to like actually knock me down and like where I'm sick. So when I got sick, I was like, huh, I don't know what this is, and I took a test. I took a test. I don't they, wherever you air this, they actually might have to, we might cut this out because
No,
they're
no,
like, oh, they're
carry
talking
on,
about the
keep talking.
pandemic.
Just hear a knock on the door. There's Ralph, they're
But I
taking you
actually
away.
I took one of the tests and it came back negative. So I guess it was like one of those false negatives or something like that. But apparently, it became positive because my kids had got it, my wife had got it, and so they went to go get tested and they were positive. And
It's like,
so we're all in the house like, who gave it to us? You were the first one sick.
yeah,
You are the
it was like,
culprit.
it was like, it was like, yeah, it was you. Now put it this way, right? When I got COVID, like, okay, went to my friend's wedding. Like, yeah, there at the wedding, yeah, got through the wedding unscathed. I was like, yeah. I was like smiling. It was like, COVID didn't get
Uh-huh.
me. Like my lady. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh,
That's like,
right.
and yes, whenever she seemed to be around me, it was just like big, like, I I don't really feel well. I was like, okay, right. 4 days later, it was like Omicron came up to me like, hey, buddy, yeah. You've avoided my friend Alpha and yeah, my brother, like, yeah, Delta. Yeah, who are you? I'm Omicron, son. You're going down. You're going down hard. And like, yes, just like normally if I get sick, I have this, I'll go down for like two. On the third day, I'm
Yeah.
like, I rise like Jesus. Like, yes. But this time it was like on the third day, it was like I tried to rise. It was like, no, sit your ass down. You're not that holy. Sit down.
Yeah.
Nah, but yeah,
Oh, man.
but you know what? One of the questions I have to ask you because I'm so intrigued,
Yeah.
so intrigued. Now, look, when we talked last, like, yeah, we mentioned your poetry and like, yeah, what, like the 4-year election cycle. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious what direction your poetry might be going in now, in a positive manner, or maybe a little bit more, how could I say, negative? I don't know.
If I were to release it, it would be more. I would guess you could say it's very more diplomatic now.
What does that mean?
It means like because for if we put in comparison, my wife is very she's her style of because she started writing poetry too.
Okay.
Just wrote it.
If you can do it, I can do it. I listen to that podcast. If you like, oh,
And so her style of poetry is very like in your face, like uh, it doesn't hold back anything. Like I thought my poetry was like doom and gloom. But like her poetry is like in your face, like bam. Where like you know who the target audience is aimed for, etc. So my poetry has now shifted to be more so diplomatic to where I I know the purpose for why I wrote what I wrote, but I write it intentionally so that whoever reads it, they may think it is for them or for somebody that they know. Like, yeah, this is about this so and so or about so and so. So it's a general, it's like for a general audience purpose. But I like it because I don't like to tell people who it's for or what it's for, because I like to see how people interpret it. And so that's the way it has taken shift that way. I actually have all of the because I remember last time the goal was to still do the book or put the second volume together, which is still the goal. And so I have all the stuff already written out. It's just a matter of just putting it together and like here we go. I tried to get my wife to put her poetry in there too, but she said it wouldn't flow together with my style. But I was like, let's do it.
I can only imagine, like, yeah, when you're like, you turn to your wife and like she's dressed up in a white dress and everything like this. She starts reading her poetry. You cut away, you cut back. All of a sudden, like, yeah, some black jeans appear. You cut away, you turn back. All of a sudden, it's like a black shirt. You turn away, come back, leather jacket on, black gloves, a beret, just like, yeah. And that's why we need to take down the man. Oh, like, baby, you okay?
But I tried to also start writing poetry about like life things. I think the one piece that I posted on LinkedIn, because it was about kids, about about just like general life stuff. Because usually I don't do like general life things like things that everybody can relate to in regards to like family and bills or whatever like that stuff. I never wrote things like that, but this year it was my goal to actually do at least one piece every month about about family and like that process. And so the one piece I posted, it was about me, our morning routine. Like, can't wait to get the kids, like my son, to school. Taking them out there. It was one of those mornings where like everything's just rough for the parent, and the child doesn't care.
Like you see, like that's something which has changed for me in the recent few weeks.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
yeah, like baby girl came into the world. So yeah.
Oh, congrats.
Why? Thank you. Look, yes. Like you know that TV show Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I'm playing the game of screams at this present time. Powerful. Powerful stuff. Because this is the thing. The reason why I bring this up, because last time we spoke, your power of organization was just crazy. It's like are you still maintaining that power of organization, or have you had added new hats to the repertoire?
You know, the crazy thing is, and I every Saturday I do like my wife and I, we switch from like personal times. So every Saturday I try to have like three hours of personal time. You know, Sundays is her time like to go, and we
Mm.
just go and do whatever. I take my time to like walk, jog, reflect, you know, on things. And during the time where we had to move within 2 times within 3 months and deal with all the craziness of the stuff that's happening in the world, like verge of World War III, etc., and all this stuff like that.
Mm.
One of the things I reflected on is how do you maintain, you know, like your structure if you're in business or if you're you know, whatever avenue that you're doing your career, like how do you maintain that with all this craziness happening in the world, especially when that stuff is like distracting you,
Yeah.
like like it's that external pressure, like I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, you know. It's actually like I know I can control the stuff in my sphere of my circle, but
Mm-hmm.
like these external things that are happening, they might like disrupt my plans. Like, how do you maintain an organization and stuff like that? And so, uh, through that reflection, uh, one thing I've come to like realize or understand is just the power of flexibility. And giving yourself grace and being flexible um, in regards to what you think consistency is. Uh, that has helped change me a lot. I still maintain like my the topics for each day of what I want to focus on.
Yeah.
Uh, but there's more grace for myself when it comes to flexibility. Because last time we talked, I had the podcast, the
Yes.
nonprofit, you know, the business, etc., working, and whatever else I had. And so,
It's
so
like,
now,
that's how much stuff he had, people. He's beginning to gradually
oh
forget.
yeah, school and stuff like that, school and different things like that. So now, like I'm finishing up my MBA. I'm still doing my master's in getting my MDiv in divinity because you know that's something I really am into. But the podcast became a nonprofit, like became infused with the nonprofit. And
Mm.
so so that's what I mean with flexibility is like what do you have that like two things that you're working on and like how can is there something that you can combine to
Yeah.
like help utilize that time and not you know disperse yourself so thin and so that helped you know so I took the podcast off and infuse that with the nonprofit. And the nonprofit's name is actually the name that the podcast used to be, which is called Refined and Refreshed.
Yeah, it's because I noticed that back in July last year, the podcast seemed to just stop. I was like, wait a second. It's like, okay, we're gonna talk about this. But like, okay,
Yeah.
if you've like folded it into the non-profit, you've got a
Mm-hmm.
board of, I think, is it 8 people now for your non-profit?
About eight or 10, 9 or 8 or 9, something like that. So it's hold
Yeah.
on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Yeah.
about 8 or 9.
Okay. Yeah. So my God, you've been keeping yourself busy on that, like while studying for an MBA and your
Yeah,
master.
finishing it up, man. Finishing up. I'm excited. I'm so glad it's about to be done.
You know, you know what? I hate you because now I've got to go out and do more stuff. It's like, yeah, because like this is the thing. Like, okay, if your like idea of consistency has now evolved and changed, like, like, okay, you had clear days where you're like, I have to do this on this day, I have to do that on this day, and like it was like bam. So, how do you like? Do you measure your consistency, or do you just like, yeah, as long as it's roughly done on this day or something that to sort of keep track of it?
Yeah, you're hitting the ball on the head. So you have hard deadlines for some things and soft
Mm-hmm.
deadlines for others. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if I want to give, and this is something really funny to do. If you want to give yourself a hard deadline,
Yes.
tell somebody, tell some people that this is gonna happen on this day. We're gonna do this. And so like you force to really do it. It's so the soft deadlines are, things that I won't, promote those things to a lot of people. I won't say it to a big amount of people because like I say it to my friends because my friends are like, okay, this could change, you know. But like in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is a soft deadline. If it happens, great. If not, then whatever. But hard deadlines, those you definitely want to say, tell people that you like who will be affected if it doesn't happen. But deadlines are key. But with flexibility in regards to consistency, it's that thing with marginal adjustments, making sure you just do just something, to continue to keep that ball moving and that progression going forward. And so for some days I'll be killing it. Like I'm like not just doing one top, like focus on one topic. Like some days I'm doing a lot of stuff for nonprofit, and then I'm like doing so great. I'm about to do some stuff for like my consulting business. I'm doing so great. Oh snap, we're rolling. Let's do some NBA work. So we're rolling. But then the next day, it probably I focus on one thing, but then the day after that, I want to do jack. And so, but to maintain consistency, I'll probably send some emails
out. No, I hear you. I hear you. Because like one of the things like I found hard this year, especially like with like going from finding out, yeah, my lady's pregnant, like through the whole sort of different stages and stuff like this. And then let's just say when you've got a fresh newborn in the house, like it's pulled my sort of focus along the way, if you get what I mean. Because like it's like, yeah, I've got this sort of realm of not so much worry, it's like this realm of like I've got this sort of greater responsibility now. Like when it, like find out it's on the horizon, and that horizon, it's not like that horizon's going to be forever down the line. It's not a soft deadline, as you would say. It is hard. It's coming on fast, and it is brutal, which has a climb at the end of it, which gives no fucks whatsoever. And
it's so interesting how kids like, kind of push to the next level. I don't want to make it general. How kids can push you to the next level to like take that next step to better yourself, or like even create a future, that is, ideal and awesomeness for them. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it don't. There's things we can't control. But I think my wife and I, we talk about like, if our kids weren't born, what would we be doing? Like, would we be doing the things that we wanted to do? Would we be further? Like, we think about that sometimes. Like, where would you be? I think for myself, there are some things that I've done where I'm like, I think this is because I want to show my children. I want them to be able to experience something and see the experience that their dad is doing, and then me being able to bring it to them, say, hey, this is what I've done, this is what it's about. Would you like to be a part of it? Such as like a business. I think there's some risk that I've taken that I wouldn't have otherwise taken if I didn't have children.
But this is the thing. I like not jumping to any assumptions about yourself. With when we last spoke, legacy was such a core fundamental piece of your identity and who like you want to project into a world. And without your kids, I'm saying, I would simply say this: they most really are the catalyst for you wanting to do that more so. You might like go, I want to put out if they weren't here. Like I want to put out a legacy. About a legacy for whom? Because the amount, like I hear people chat legacy a number of times. I want to do something great. I want to do something grand. Okay, for whom? It's just turns into worthless platitudes where people are
Yeah.
just like slapping their gums, but you know what I mean? It doesn't
Yeah.
actually lead to any sort of positive action. But
Mhm.
I'd say with both of your kids being there, it's a case of, right, it's like it's very important that I would say if you're a parent, you're like you do positive things around your kid.
Yeah.
Like it's not a case of like, yeah, come join me. It's a case of you just like doing stuff, and like eventually their curiosity will kick in.
Yeah.
They might not
Yeah.
actually join you, but they'll see you and they'll be like, okay, yeah, you kind of lay the path that way. If they really are invested and intrigued, they'll join you eventually.
Yeah. Oh
But you know
yeah.
what I mean? It's one of
Most
those things.
definitely.
But that's,
Most
I would
definitely.
say, without your kids, I'm not too sure. I think you'll be doing stuff, but I'm
Mhm.
not too sure how focused it would be. I think it might
Yeah.
be a
I
little
think you're really
aimless.
right. I totally agree. I totally agree. Because before, like literally before my children, uh, I struggled because I'm all about like having a personal mission, like your
Yeah.
personal mission focus. I'm all about that. But like my personal mission before my children, it was still in development.
Mm. Always in development.
Still
It's
in
like, yeah,
production, still in
it,
production phases.
it was always a soft deadline.
Yeah, it was so,
It's like, yeah,
yes,
tomorrow. Ooh, Cobra Kai? Yes, please.
yes, yes, indeed. I love it.
But yeah, so with this, and like, you know what I mean? Like, like, what have you, like, because like this is the thing, the time constraints and everything like this. Look,
Mhm.
okay, with one kid, I'm not like going, okay, where do I find time? It's like going, me, owls and vampires will like know my lifestyle. It's like going, it's like, it's time for you to go to bed. Huh? It's like, but like, yeah, to try balance, like, how do you manage to sort of like, because I didn't ask you this
Yeah.
last, how do you balance everything you do, because you do a lot
Hmm.
as a father?
Mm. Good question. No, good question. Caveat: we're not perfect.
Hey, it's like, look, yeah, look, you're never perfect.
Yeah,
Forget
yeah,
that. It's
yeah.
like, I'm your dad, I'm your hero. No, it's like,
Yeah, so never perfect, and so and no one is, and so no matter how good we try to be, to our children, there's always going to be blind spots that we
mm.
miss, and you won't know it until like they grow up and they're like, you didn't do
Huh. Here's that money for therapy.
exactly. And we all need it. We all need it. But for me, like I try to schedule things around times where, well, one, first and foremost, good teammate with my wife.
Mm.
Like we help each other. If I have some meetings that we need to do, then it's kind of like tag team.
Yeah.
And this is one of the benefits for us both. We both work from home, and that's another thing. But that was one of the things I wanted to do. Like I was like, I need to work from home because um, when my son was born before the pandemic and all that. Well, he's born at 17, and so what? There was a time when we went on vacation. Uh, ambulance. So there was a time we went on vacation, and that was the first time it was like hit me. Where I was like, I don't know this kid. Like he was like a little over 1 year old.
Oh, okay.
Uh, yeah, but that's because here in Chicago, you have the 8 hour workday. That the quote unquote 8 hour workday, but
Huh.
it's more than 8 hours. You have the travel to and fro. So it's about a 12 hour workday. And if someone is working a 12 hour like job, then you add more hours to that because you have to travel. And so for me, I had a real big problem of like not being around my family and missing, their upbringing, these formative years. I did not know that until we went on vacation. So fast forward now to the pandemic and stuff like that, and we work remotely. I was like, I, I can't. This time with them is too valuable. I need to find some place that's remote,
Mm,
or I need to also, continue to build up something to where we can support ourselves, self-sustainable, where I don't have to worry about a 9 to 5.
mm.
And so we both work remotely, so that helps. And we both tag team in regards to like if one of us have meeting, etc. But in regards to other extra things, um, when they taking a nap, nap times, nap times are great times for working.
Got to be careful, like when, like if you look at them and go, they're having a nap. Maybe I should have a nap. That looks
you
like
know, you
right there. Like,
So if you can, nap times are great. Of course, I think a lot of people know this is like, of course, when they go to sleep, like sleep time does not mean sleep time for you. It's like it's just work, you're just working. So sleep in the evenings. If there's like events that's happening, and my wife is taking me to an event, then I'll use that time. Or if I'm taking to an event, my wife uses that time for her stuff. My wife has a whole host of things that she does as well. And so it's just this balance of give and take, and trying to like have time that's dedicated to spend with them as a father, like outings, like just yesterday, it was a Sunday, we went downtown. Like that time was truly focused on them. And then throughout the day when they are up, I'm not going to be, uh, you know, you know, trying to have meetings while I'm like right there if possible. But if we do have meetings and my wife have me at the same time, we make it clear to them like, hey, we have a meeting, we can't focus right now on what you're doing. And they're at the age where they can like work on like scribble and color book for a while or do a puzzle for a while. Like we can't do a meeting right. We can't focus on you right now, but after the meeting, we'll focus on, we can bring our focus and attention. So communication with them as well, because even though they're young, yes, like being able to communicate and say, communicate with them is really key. Another key thing is taking parenting classes because that helps. That because I learned this part of communicating with your kid through a parenting class. That's something we need to incorporate in like in society. Is like because no one like there's like no like one one thing when I was little, one thing when I was younger, I thought like as you got older, like there was these different classes for each, life event that you're about to go through. Exactly.
like this is the thing. Like this is the craziest thing about our society, right? Okay, look. Okay, you want to drive a car, right? You need a
Uh,
license for that. You need to go through the whole test and everything like this. You want a gun. Yeah, you like depending where you are and where your political lines are in the states, you
uh-huh.
you need to get a license for that, some type of permit for it. Like, you want to bring a child into this world. Off you had your night of fun. Say no more. All right, here comes this bundle of joy, and you're out
There
in
you
the
are.
world. It's like going, yes, I go. So, uh,
There you go.
right.
There you are.
Hi,
Take
my
care of
name's my name's Ralph. Your name is. Like,
it.
but no one actually. There is no classes like you got. You know what I mean? Your prenatal classes.
Mm-hmm.
But like parenting classes, what the sort of like, you know what I mean, best methods are. You can read a book, and like this is the
Yeah.
thing. Okay, look, let me just say this about parenting books. They can go from like Gestapo-esque about a particular thing to
Uh-huh.
dippy shit, which you just like go, what type of mushroom have you been having? And like, and reason never seems to lie in any of them. So you're like, all right, you're kind of like, but you're kind
The
of
type,
left on your own, you know?
yeah, the type of person I am, I would love like if there was like if you're about to have a child, like maybe at in different milestones for the kid, you have all right, now you're required to take this class, or you like give me some administrative. you know,
I,
guideline of how to do this.
I need some structure. Come on.
And I know every child is different, every family is different, but give me some principles. Like, what's some principles that I could take along that are universal? That'd be great, you know.
uh,
but but yeah, just going back to your question, it's just a combination of teamwork. You know, if you have a partner, teamwork. You know,
mm,
communicating with the child. You know, utilizing time, that dead time where either your kids are asleep, or if they're, you know, having fun at an event or whatever like that, utilizing that time. And because I mean, it takes sacrifice,
mm.
sacrifice for you as an individual, like to not, like, you don't get to binge watch Game of Thrones anymore. You know what I'm saying? All the time. You have, and for you have to set some time aside for yourself, and that time be the time where you are binge watching or you doing whatever you want to do for you. You know,
Mm,
but for the majority of part, if you are working towards, you know, building something, you have to take that sacrifice of like, okay, I'm going to delay gratification for myself right now to take time to build this stuff. And it doesn't happen all the time. That's where the consistency comes in. You know, it might you might be consistent and do really good for a little bit, but then like you're like, all right, I'm about to just, you know, maybe watch some sports, you know, during the time, or catch up on the highlights, whatever like that.
mm.
But you know, you just give yourself grace.
Yeah, no, but like this is the thing. One of the things, like two things you said, like sacrifice and delayed gratification. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's one of the things where I would say so many people who decide to like not so much do the entrepreneurial life because like that can be mixed up with like so much, but start their own business or they're working on a project for
Mm-hmm.
themselves to like help lift them to greater
Yeah.
goals. They sometimes don't realize, yeah, there is this like price to pay. There's always a price to pay. There's going to
Yeah.
be some type of sacrifice you need to be made, like to make this happen. Or they just want it now. They don't want. It's like, yeah, they don't actually think, okay, you want a cake? Okay, let's make a cake from scratch. Okay, you've mixed all the ingredients, done it. Okay, we're putting it in the oven. It's like going, okay, yeah, it's been in there for 5 minutes. Let's take it out. It's like, no, 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 you need to wait. But yeah, but they don't have any type of patience. And like it must be one of those things you must see a lot yourself because you like, you know what I mean? You're in the trenches on some broad places, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's something myself I had to learn as well. I think the first venture I got into, the first business I did, I think I told you last time, it failed miserably. It was like e-commerce and just felt miserably.
Taking on
But
Amazon.
no, right? Yeah, taking on, that was right. I was taking on Amazon. I was like, I'll skip it, you know. Um, and so, but you know, I was in that mindset, like, you know, thinking it's when you think it's going to happen like right away. You want to see the fruit right away,
Mm,
and that's where my mindset was at that time. But now, like, I've learned the key of like long term growth of like just be patient and being consistent in that patiency. Uh, did I just make that word up? Patiency.
patency. It's like, I wasn't gonna call you on it. It's like, just see like your patiency. Just look up at the camera like, like did I just make up that word?
but but yes, I do see it a lot. I've talking to some people who like ask me about you know what I do and just advice. Um, and I think it's because of course once again our society we have access to things readily and available. You
Mm.
know, and then and there's these YouTube videos or whatever videos of like, you know, I've done this and here it is. You know, but you don't see out if it's real. You don't see the, you know, the long term effects that it took to get there. If it's not real, then you know they just got a new viewer on their YouTube. You know, so you help them out with that. But nonetheless, yeah, man, I've seen it, and I've lived it. Yeah, it just got we just what helps me is being able to take myself for the most part off of the immediacy of social media. I'm not on Instagram. I'm on Instagram, but I'm not on Instagram, meaning I don't run it.
Who runs your Instagram, Ralph? Who runs your
So like if like on LinkedIn, like you say you see me stuff like that, I'll post stuff here and there. I'm not on there all the time. Like Facebook, like I have other people that helps me to do those things now. But before I even got to that point, I I still struggle with like being on there because I think that feeds into like that immediacy. You see it, you like, oh, you see these people post like, oh my gosh, like they're doing it, they're doing it. If they are or if they're not, it still feeds into like, oh, I want this to happen now, just like it happens for them now. You see the post is what happened now.
Indeed. No, like this is the thing with social media. Like I've said this a couple of times to people in my workplace and everything like this, because like in my workplace where like my government job, like I like when I put out a number of posts like down on the sort of positive line of things and everything like this, but I've kept a kind of a low profile with like Instagram, LinkedIn, and everything like that for quite some time. And now I've been like, okay, I'll add you on. They're like, going, wait a second, hey, wait. It's like, you post this? I mean, yes, I do. Yeah, it's like, okay, ooh. And I go, yeah, but like, why do you put out positive posts? I like it because, like, hey, against the realm of overall, like a whole world of negative posts and this, that, the other, and like
Yeah.
all the BS what goes on, putting out a little bit of positivity is a world of good. And people have asked me, oh yeah, but like, yeah, you like when do you expect to see something happen or anything like this? And I'll go, look, if you're putting out something positive in the world, you might not see anything.
Yeah.
Weeks, months, years, decades even for that to come back. And it's like, you're right. Then why do it? It's like, I don't know how it might affect one person down the line. It might be 3 months from now. It might affect them and like, oh yeah, they put something that positive. And like, you know what I mean? From what I've done originally, it might come back to me, but I have no idea it came from my action.
Yeah.
Alternatively, now, if you put something negative out there, you might as well just see the wave go out like a tsunami, and it will come back at you 10x, 20x, 30x with great fury and vengeance.
Yes.
So you're like, oh, right. So you go, you might get all the attention in the world. You might get a like and like a comment and like everything like this. But when you go through the comments and stuff like this, you're kind of like, oh my word, what toxic dump have I landed in?
Yeah.
Like, just because you put something negative out there, it's and you know, it's like it comes back hard.
Yeah.
Positive, it goes out there and it will just go out there forevermore. You know, you must already found this yourself. You know what I mean?
All right.
But yeah.
That's funny. I mean, it's so true. It's like the little ripple of goodness, like, oh, I see that little ripple. How gentle, how graceful it is,
Yeah. Maybe it'll come back. It's like, yeah. You just say one thing. Yeah, this so and so is out. Oh no. And let's not get into anything like, yeah, don't be doing anything about any particular groups. Like, then you'll know.
Like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But like, this is the thing, like being in business and like people like going, yes, social media is integral to like the game this day and age. If you're not on Facebook, if you're not on Instagram, if you're not on like Twitter, or if you're not on TikTok, You can't like start a business. You can't be successful. You're gonna just fail and die. You're gonna fail and die, Ralph. What would you like? You've touched on it lightly, but like, yeah, like
Yeah,
be all
that's
end all.
that's one of my biggest pet peeves. I don't know if it's because I was raised by my helped raised by my grandparents and stuff like that. So I don't know if I have like this old school mentality or not, but nonetheless, or maybe because I'm older, like I'm a millennial, early '90s baby. So maybe that's what it is. Where I'm like, I didn't have it wasn't a whole bunch of the technology at that time. But my thing that I struggle with the most is um, growing a business, growing a nonprofit, doing whatever,
Mm.
and then plugging into social media and utilizing social media. Because so for me, this is the thing that you see uh, on my on if I go on LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever like that, on those timelines and the groups that I'm a part of, I'm a part of those things. I don't actively engage,
Yeah.
um, but it's like you start to be around the same audience, and it's like everyone's fishing from that same well. Um, and so like you try to figure out like little um, uh, metrics or whatever like that that will help you get the better advantage of whoever's on that site. But for me, my biggest pet peeve is everyone is fishing for people who have access to you know that that website or whatever like that. You're fishing for people who have a certain amount of income who can help your business grow, help that grow. But
Mm.
for me, my thing is like there's people who don't have access to like technology still, or who don't have that income. And so those people, you're not worried about those people because those people can't buy your services and stuff
Mm.
like that. As a business person, I understand that, but as uh, a head of a nonprofit, I hate it because and so like it's this clash that I have, and so I think it depends on what kind of success you want to see,
Mm.
because I'm a consultant for I do accreditation consultancy, and so we have had success out without even posting a lot on social media and stuff like that. Like we don't even have a social media, but it's about who you know. But
Yeah.
at the same time, we're not like raking in millions and millions of dollars.
Mm.
So it's like how quote unquote successful do you want to be, and even whatever uh, uh, objectives or initiatives that you put in place to try to gain some of those people from social media doesn't necessarily equate to success, because you still need to have that good customer service. You still need to have a good funnel that will lead people through your product or your service, and then you have to deliver on that product or service. So that stuff is not guaranteed. So it's like it just depends on like what's your metric of like success for your business or your company or whatever you're doing. For me, my my metric of success is like, is my family doing well? Can we like am I are we can I maintain am I not going to go insane? You know.
Like, okay, I'll just simply say when your daughter starts dating, that'll be a new Pandora's box for you. There you go.
so and so for me, I don't we don't need to be splashy on social media or worry about those metrics.
Mm.
But if I'm working for a company who is all about that, then of course I'm gonna take liberty and try to get that stuff out there. But I think but those who do it really well, I think you have it's two different it's two different in my mind, two different categories. You have those who you have businesses who
Mm.
are actively trying to do it and make a funnel and get people to their channel and get their buy their service or do their product. But then you have those who it's their career, like influencers or like that. Like they
Yeah.
have made that thing their career, and of course from that have done business and stuff like that. And I and so it's an interesting phenomenon in my opinion. I necessarily don't. I'm not all about that, but I think it all comes down to like what's your metrics of success and where do you want to see yourself, and then that will help determine if you should use it or how much you should use it because there is a lot of different channels that you can use, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, et
Mhm.
cetera, et cetera. I've taken myself. I don't utilize. I have a Twitter. I don't utilize Twitter because I don't want my audience to come from Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't. You
Yeah.
know.
And yeah, like, and if you go to his Twitter, the account doesn't exist anymore. I discovered that in my research. I was like, okay, let's see what he's doing on Twitter. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Uh,
it just like. I mean, it just depends on like where you want your audience to come from, the people that you want, et cetera, et cetera. So if you want to try to grow exponentially and gain so many people, then of course, yes, be on TikTok, be on LinkedIn, all of this stuff. You just want people. You just want your net of possible income to be far wide and reaching.
yeah. But like this is one of the things I think people get wrong with social media because like, okay, people get caught up in the vanity metrics. Just like going, I've got this follower account.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
look at it. I get this engagement. Oh, look at it. And like they go on about this. And like there was this one YouTube video I watched. It was about VidCon, right? And
Uh-huh.
like they had like this last was talking about how VidCon was going and everything like this, and how they put so much emphasis on these TikTok people, influencers coming through. There was this one lass who had 3 million people following her on TikTok, right? And she had a meet and greet. How many people do you think showed up, Ralph? How many people?
It's about 30.
No.
0.
Yeah, no one. No one showed up for this girl. 3
Yeah.
million people on this platform, but it was like, right, things like TikTok and everything like that. Yeah, you can get the vanity, you can get all of this, but if you truly want to do something special, you need to sort of work on building a community. And I think
Yeah.
that's the thing what many people forget. That's the thing what many people get lost in that. And when you lose sight of building that community,
Yeah.
you've got nothing.
Hmm.
Nothing but bullshit platitudes. It's like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah. I mean, I
yeah,
think the whole thing is one thing that I realized, and it could just because maybe it's the algorithm.
mm,
Like for me, social media has become like this huge selling space. Like every post or everything is like, I'm doing selling this. I'm check this. I'm selling this. I'm selling this. I'm selling this. I'm selling this. Come here, come to my event. This event. I'm like, it's just too much. Everyone's doing.
yeah. Oh, I the thing I love is when you hear someone go, yes, oh, I can help you build your YouTube account, or I can help build your TikTok and everything like this. You like, okay, yeah, you can build all of this. Great, that's fantastic. But yeah, I'll sell you this course for I had it like for 997. I'm going to reduce it to 447. Oh no, you know what? Better still, what like $97. Yeah, go for it. No, you're like, are you making any money from these platforms? Or are you just selling a course? It's like,
My pet peeve is like sometimes I'm intrigued, and so I like try to see like like the things, and I go to the websites, and my pet peeve is every like course website like trying to sell a course is so long. It's
oh,
just like a continuous. You just keep scrolling. It's so long of like, and I done this and this and do this and do this and this testimony. I'm like, this makes it feel like it's spam.
Yeah, but like worse still, you voluntarily went to that spam. It's like you're like, no, 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 no. What have I done? What have I done?
Right.
Yeah, because like this is the thing. I remember you talking about your your grandfather and like yeah, how from a third grade education he
Yeah.
like ended up getting a government job, like well paid, ended up with 6 properties and everything like this.
Hmm.
Like low key, hard graft
Yeah.
work. Like not this like fancy bells and whistles, but you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
think if there was more sort of an emphasis on yeah, do the low key, like hard graft work. And like you go, yeah. Oh, but what about the 4 hour work week? Shut up, stop that, put it down. Like I've read the book. It's a good read and everything like that, but put it down. It doesn't like more times not, it doesn't work like that. Now you go, right, look at like you just simply need to look at anyone you consider like highbrow successful. And yeah, even if you like looking at some YouTuber like Logan Paul, you're like, oh, right, what have you been doing? Yeah, yeah, my day consists of me getting up at like, yeah, 7 o'clock in the morning. I finish around about 10 o'clock at night. And yeah. But looks like you're just having a good time. I
Yeah.
am, but there's work behind it. And I think
Yeah.
people keep forgetting that, you know?
Yeah. No, that's so true. I think and I think that's where the different trains of thought, I guess different, the technology or the generation that we came up with, the society that or the culture that was around us, I think plays a big part into it. For me, like I tell my wife all the time, I tell my friends all the time, like, or if they, whenever I get a chance to talk with them, it's like I just want a garden. Like I want a garden. I want to like have my own space, work on my garden, and then call it a career. Like being in a position like so I don't like for me, I don't really care about like
So, Ralph,
making
you want to be Thanos?
minus all of the rings and destroying half of the population. Minus all of the
Okay.
like I
Watch
just
out for
like
this person. Huh? Watch him carefully.
really. But yeah, like it just I think the amount of what one does utilizing this awesome technology that we have, social media and stuff like that. I think the amount of what one does with it, uh, like kind of can show. I won't say it will, but it can show like what like it'll be interesting to see what one's motivation is behind it. Um, and so like is are you trying to utilize the social media to like become successful, quote unquote, and make lots of money and become notarized or become a celebrity and stuff like that? And if that is the motive, then how like are they like checking to see like okay are I see why they're posting so much and like trying to get engagement and different things of that nature. If it's a business and stuff like that, and maybe the motive, of course, is to grow and expand and build brand awareness or brand recognition, stuff like that. But my motive for life is just to, just to be chill and enjoy the fruits of one's labor and pass on generational wealth for my kids, whether that's land or whatever that may be. And so for me, if I ever got to a point to where like we have homes and or a home and having some property, I want to be to where we're self-sustainable,
Mm.
where I want chickens, I want my own aqua, like my little ecosystem of recyclable water and stuff like that, and just work on my garden and live a little bit of homestead life. Not completely off the grid, but not completely farming.
You know what? I think with you moving more and more north in Chicago, you're just like slowly trying to like acclimate your wife and kids to the countryside. I think that's what yours like plan is. Like before you know it, you're gonna own a farm or something like that. Yeah, like your
Well, my
wife's gonna
wife
come
is a
out one day like, how did we end up on this farm? I have no idea. Like Yes, Ralph Monroe's 5 year plan to own a farm. Yeah.
Just enjoy it, like, cause low key, like the thing that brings me joy is like being able to be away from people
Okay.
and like hiking, just enjoying nature and stuff like that. So like that'd be my ideal serene, like scenery or environment and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay. I hear you. I hear you.
Just
He
stay
is
there and write some poetry, write some poems about
uh, he's trying to be Thanos, people. He's trying to be Thanos. I'm telling you. He's like going if he's got some type of gauntlet, he's like, we're gonna have to take him out. He's like Feeny standing there with the shield. ah, now tell me this, your non-profit, yeah, was a podcast now evolved into a non-profit. Like, what brought this about? Because you dabbling in 2000, like 2000 and 2001, like no 2021. You see, this is how I'm trying to erase 2020, 2021 out of my head. Like I'm just say it was a dream. But yeah, in 2021, yeah, it was
Yeah.
just like, okay, yeah. So yeah, your nonprofit, what have you been doing to help the people out there?
Yeah, man. So I think right before the pandemic, like, well, the backstory is like I grew up in impoverished situations where we didn't have water, heat, gas, etc. So I've lived that life and I understand it. And like even I tell people I've told people I stumbled my way out of poverty. I
Mm.
didn't know anything about like college or any of that stuff. And like after like graduating high school, like uh, I think in passing, my auntie talked about like going to college to do some radio. And I was like, that's what I was like, oh, that's what I'm gonna do. Like I didn't know. And then, I had no plan. I literally had no plan. Like, cause where we're at is just like no one told us. Like we weren't told that. Of and then like when I got to college, like I didn't take it seriously. I think it was my sophomore year at my community college. I got kicked out because because my GPA was so low. I think it was like 1.8 or something of that nature.
See, you didn't
Uh,
say this last time. Mm. It's like, yeah, okay. Uh,
so
yeah, carry on. Yeah.
no, they kicked me out, but that was the first time where I was like, dang, like I feel like my future or whatever that future was gone. And I was like, I got to fight for this. And so I actually went to and emailed the president and got an audience with the president of the school. And she graciously let me back in that semester, but with some requirements like you have to take this class, this class, this class, and you have to get this grade from now on throughout this like no more
No pressure.
no pressure.
No, no, no. Yeah.
But that's like when things change for me, and I got my act together and stuff like that, and actually start. Okay, what's my future look like? But when I go back now, like fast forward to where I'm at now, or 2018, 2017, it is. Every time I went back to my home city, I would see the same stuff. Uh, no progression, rundown homes. But then it's not just my city; it's the surrounding cities around it. Places here in Chicago. I mean, it's everywhere. America, and it's here. It's everywhere here, but it's also everywhere in the world too. Just this fact of people being in poverty, extreme poverty. Having low income things, low income housing. Um, and so you see this everywhere. I'm like, in my mind, as a business person, I'm like, why are there so many organizations but it seemed like nothing is happening. And I understand like there's a complexity of like systemic things and stuff like that.
Mm.
Um, but I still couldn't get over the fact like I got of seeing like nothing happen in my community. And so my wife and I always talked about like how can we help or how can we give back. And so my thing is always about legacy, yeah, and building a legacy for my children and generational wealth for my children. And so that just, of course, I guess just has blossomed to like, oh, this is how we can give back. Let's help try to change the trajectory of people's legacies, you know, and those who are in poverty. And so, yeah, so that started it. And so the last time we talked, it was like it was in the infancy. I didn't know the name of what the name of the nonprofit was going to be. Like I didn't know like what our focus was going to be, but after we started talking, like it just started developing. I was like, I like the name Refined and Refreshed as far as something that stuck with me because for me it means like coming out of a rough situation,
Mm.
and then becoming like refreshed into like this new, path that you have for you or your family. And so I just like fused the podcast to that. And so sometime in the future, the nonprofit will have its own podcast and stuff like that. So that's the goal with that. But yeah, I was able to share the vision with some people that I knew. I will say this one thing that kind of was the delaying factor for starting a nonprofit. I found out if I start the nonprofit doesn't belong to me; it belongs to the board. So
Ah.
which means if like as we got new board members and stuff like that, if they didn't like me, they can kick like I'd be voted out. You are then we can say goodbye.
But I started this. I, did we want your input anymore?
I know, right?
There's the door. Get out.
Exactly.
I said, good day, sir. Get out.
So because like in business, whatever you start, is yours,
Yeah.
unless something crazy happens. So I had to get over that mindset, and I did. And so I was like, okay, it's not about me; it's about like helping others and serving communities. And so, yeah, so our first year, of getting incorporated, it was about developing infrastructure. So, using some of my business skills and different things of that nature that I've learned in business, it was a lot of learning about how the nonprofit sector works.
Mm.
And so, getting a coalition together and building up a nice board, a nice strong infrastructure of like legal stuff getting complete and where people can give and different things of that nature. So that was the first year. The second year, we started focusing on programs, and so our main focus is to help people build legacies by breaking the cycle of generational poverty, and we do that by providing education, so life skills, soft skills, career readiness, project management skills, and then also economic relief. So whether that's through sending if someone's like doing scholarships or sponsoring families to help them with alleviating any outstanding bills or whatever that may be, if we have the funds to do so, then we'll do it. And so just giving people a pathway to be able to get out of there, and also resources to things that are in those local communities, so that they will be able to know what's available for them. And so we're here for that. Our main program that is still in development is called the Legacy Builders Program. I'm super excited for it because what this would be is those who are going through our program, there'll be a track of like different things that they'll learn, like skills that are principle based, where like you can take it anywhere it for whatever career. So they'll go through that track, but then they would be tasked to find an issue in their community, and find a solution. And so what we do as an organization is come behind them and say, okay, now you identified an issue in the community, that you are a part of, where you may know a better solution than those who just come in and say, hey, you're going to do this for your community. That's not what we're about. We're about like allowing the individuals who are in those communities to come up with ideas and solutions, and then we back them. And so after they go through the program, they have the skills and stuff like that. They find the issue, and we help them build a coalition. And so they find they find a group of people or whatever like that, and they decide, hey, do we want to do a program for our community, or do we want to do an event for our community to bring awareness to our issue in this community? And so we'll provide, our organization will provide funds for them, or mentorship for them, to help get whatever it is that they're hoping to do off the ground. Mm-hmm. And then they can use that if they want to get a job. We'll help them with resume building and stuff like that, to utilize what they just learned through our track and through the solution that they found, and putting it together on their resume and stuff like that to get a job. But it's the overall, the focus is empowering communities who are impoverished, empowering the people who are there to infuse them with the skills to help uplift their community, uplift where they are at, and not dictate a solution for them, but to just come alongside and be a part of the solution that they have.
So
that's the main goal.
I see. So you're helping them be a pathfinder in many regards.
Yeah.
No, I like that. I like that, because this is the thing, empowering the individual is a great and noble thing, mm-hmm. But they are an individual. Yes, but when you're say coalition, building a team, now that individual is part of a powerful team, like that, which is greater still. And like a cascading wave of goodness. There you go. Man, people's going out there, and who knows where it can take them. I'm liking this.
Yeah, it's a huge endeavor. Our tagline is doing the generational work, because as whenever I have meetings with, if it's a committee member, if it's with our volunteers, I let them know I'm coming into this with a realistic expectation of, we're not eradicating poverty. In my lifetime, and in our children's lifetime, I don't expect to see it, but that's still our mission.
So right, okay. So you're taking on the Batman approach to crime.
Yeah. So the tagline that we have that says doing a generational work, that's intentional, because after myself, whenever I'm done with serving on the nonprofit, that it's going to take generations, not just with our nonprofit, but whoever we're collaborating with. It's going to take generations, and that's so I know there's some awesome lofty goals of seeing different things complete or done by the next decade or so and stuff like that. But we also do research, and we're getting feedback from people from those communities. And one of the questions that we ask them, we have metrics where we ask them the confidence level that they have in their local government or local organizations to help eradicate poverty. And that confidence level has been very, very low. It's been skewed to the side,
What? Confidence level low in local government and in government in the United States of America? Surely not. No. It's going, yeah. So, you know what I mean? A country what runs a two-party system, what works in complete harmony and in some type of utopian scheme.
Yeah. I know, right?
It's America through and through.
So I mean, but that's our goal is to gauge and see what the people are saying, and then provide a realistic approach. I think you can be realistic without being you can be realistic and also optimistic at the same time. And I think that's something people appreciate. you know.
Yeah.
And but it also for the people who have volunteered for us, like they've done some amazing, awesome work. Like our organization is truly grassroots. When I say that, no one in our organization is paid, not even myself. Like no one in our organization is paid, and but they have given their time. Like we've had people who have developed courses for us for these learning tracks, volunteers who are doing community engagement, engaging with communities, and like I'm talking about like maybe 15 plus hours a week, doing this stuff because they understand the overall goal of building a legacy
Mm,
for people, for communities to train to break the cycle of generational poverty. And so we see that, and just being and just having people who will collaborate with us and stuff like that has been an awesomeness. Um, it has taken the legs of its own, if I'm being honest, where there's people who have reached out. I won't spill everything, but like we have some stuff coming like within the next month where a big we're teaming up with a big uh, I guess you would say financial entity that is global, and they've heard about our organization and stuff like that. And so people are hearing about what is happening,
yeah.
and our mission and our goal. And I think it is very attractive to people, and so they just want to be a part. And so um, and yeah, so that's what we do, and we let them come and be a part of it. And I think the other approach that I take, it might be an entrepreneurial approach, but volunteers who have come to help, like I'm like, what skills do you have? All right, awesome. You have these skills. How can we utilize your skills where you have an awesome experience as a volunteer, but
Mm.
also being able to give back to progress and push this mission forward. And so we try to be flexible with people, with volunteers, and seeing like how can we, yeah, modify or adapt to the volunteers who are coming in to give and serve. Yeah.
No, I hear that. I hear that. I like one of the things like what um stands out to me. It's like you're taking like in many respects the relay approach to it
Mhm.
all. Because what many people so unfortunately get so caught up with, it's all about me and like making it happen for myself. Unfortunately, it doesn't sometimes work out like that. It can do. It can be all about you, but it's just about setting it up for the generation what comes after, and you hand that baton off to them. They run with it,
Yep.
and then they hand it on. And like if you can keep doing that, like eventually that baton becomes. It doesn't grow bigger, but it becomes more valuable. Like it starts out,
Mhm.
say, like as a bit of wood, then it starts to evolve and change and like yeah, gold, silver, all the sort of like platitude, like all the things which people like go, oh, valuable, but that's the talent of the people which go with that baton to get passed on to the next generation, that knowledge they've had through their time and passing it on. That's the way I see
Yeah, no, that's so true, and I think that's part of the whole, the legacy thing.
it. Yeah.
I guess if there's one thing, whatever I'm a part of, you'll probably see some legacy involved. The word legacy involved with it.
You know, like 20 years from now. Yes, I remember Ralph Monroe the third, not the first, not the second, but the third. Yes. Yes. Like wait. Oh, he's got legacy in his name right now. Yes. Ralph Monroe the third. Legacy. Yeah, yes. Yes.
Trademark.
Yeah. Trademark legacy. Yeah. He trademarked the word legacy. Yeah, I didn't expect him to pull it off either. But he did. It's amazing. like, like, Grandpa, why are you talking with that accent? I know, and I'm just putting on. Let's go and watch Avengers 28. Come on,
I
let's
know,
go.
right?
Oh, like for my final question, I have to
Mhm.
ask. Look, I gave you a wish last time, and you like, yeah, you wanted to like get some of the stories of like, yeah. your grandfather's notes and stuff like that. And like, yeah, I'm still working on that. I can't give you that.
Yeah, man. There's been a little bit of what you call it, momentum in that. So
you see, I'm
someone
going to
have
take full responsibility for this. Thank you.
someone let me know that there's actually some recordings and tapes of my grandfather. And so they have them in the storage, like they have to go through their old storage, and so they'll let me know if there's some there. So we have some light or some glimmer of hope.
Bask in the glory of my power.
See,
Yeah.
you gotta keep your listeners updated about the story now. So this is like every 2 years or so I come on and like
What can I say? That's it. I told you, people. Feel the power. Yeah. Okay. Just get my ego back into the room. It's like, you're living on my ego. Ah, it's the universe. Yes. For what you want to, like, if there was two things you could teach your kids in the next 5 or 6 years, what would those two things be?
So I'm very logical. So that means my son will be 10. My daughter, my daughter will be 7. If there's two things I can teach them. So that means I have to be able to relate to them something that they'll be able to remember at that age. Okay. So
no
two
easy
things.
question.
No. It's a really great question. It's a really great question. I'll say the first one would be I'm 10 years old. Okay. Yeah, the first one would be the I was also thinking like, man, what was I doing when I was 10 years old? Oh yeah, I needed that when I was 10. I was a little crazy at 10 years old. So if so not saying my son is gonna be the same way as I was, but uh at 10 years old, if I was to tell him something, or and my daughter at 7 years old, if I was to tell her something, um, it would be to um, that it would be reflection, like to reflect, um, and to reflect on the things that has happened, and um, formulate what formulate how you feel and find a way to express it. So reflect and formulate how you feel, and then find a way, a productive way to express it.
Yeah, just had to slip in productive.
I know. So that'd be one, because I think about me at 10 or around the age of 7. Like there's a lot of like kids and like other people, your friends around you, say some dumb stuff, and you think like that's the entirety of your world, of what they said. And so like, yeah, it would be reflect, find ways to feel, reflect on how you feel, and find productive ways to express it. So that would be one. Number two, it'll be just to these are
Wow.
some great questions. These are some great questions.
So, like, you froze for a moment there. Did you say anything about number two, or yes?
Oh no, I was in deep thought.
Okay, like it was in that. Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking. I was like, wow, these are some great questions. So I was deep in thought. But so the second one would be just to uh, uh, if you fail, find ways to respond. Um, because I think that's a big thing. Like with my whole mantra, you fail at everything. You're gonna fail at a lot of stuff if you're trying, and it's just important, like to we all respond, but we need to respond in a way that is going to lead to progression and betterment. And so to them, I would say, like, how find ways that you can learn from your failure or your mistake and respond in a way that will lead you to a better outcome for, like, not just yourself, but like for the situation as a whole. So those will be the two things. I think at 10 and 7, they'll be able to grasp that. Hopefully, we'll see.
Okay. A second. Papa, your question raises up so many intellectual challenges, but on this occasion, seeing as I'm a 10-year-old and my beloved sister is 7, who doesn't eat boogers, is like, I'm not too sure she can process the answer. But as
I'm very logical and literal sometimes, man. So I'm like, wait, if you would have asked me like 10 or 30 years, I was like, okay, I can give you something.
Right, Ralph Monroe IV. Not the second, not the third, but the fourth. Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Wow. Once again, it has been a joy, a pleasure, an honor to have you on the show today. Once again, can you tell the lovely people out there how they can find you on these interwebs?
Yeah, it's changed since last time. I mean, the two main places, of course, it would have to be LinkedIn. So if you don't have a LinkedIn, you have to get professional and get one, because that's where you'll find me most of the time. Or I do have a Facebook as well, Ralph J Monroe III. Same with the LinkedIn. But for the most part, you can go to my website, ralphjmonroe3.com, and it'll have all my ventures and different things you can find there. But the thing I will say the most is definitely go to refineandrefresh.org, which is the nonprofit, and just see all about it and check it out.
Perfect. I'll put all of this information into the show notes. Yes, I'm going to have to go back and like update some notes because yeah, you know what? Yeah, Ralph Monroe III. Yeah, it doesn't make your life easy. There you go. Son of a gun.
They don't have it. They don't have it on the keyboard. I had to actually put I in capitals.
No. Yada, blah, blah, blah. On that happy note, yes, my friends, my life warriors. Thank you for sticking with us up until this point. Dear, I don't know. Please stay safe, stay well, be awesome, be excellent, be fantastic. Be all the positive bees you can be in this world and then some. Oh, have a good one. And remember, watch out for Ralph Monroe III. He is Thanos in disguise. There you go. Peace and love. We are